If you head north, following the Henry's Fork upstream to its headwaters, you'll eventually reach Henry's Lake. It's a mecca for anglers who love to hook into big fish. The lake's cutthroats, brook trout, and huge hybrids are a challenge just waiting to be met.
This one here will run about 6 or 7 pounds. Oh, you ought to see that tail on that puppy. This is the hybrid that Henry's Lake is famous for, right here. That fish right there is 25 inches long. They've got the rainbow coloring, and then they're also, you see the dots on the side. This is a fish that they come all over the United States to catch right here.
Come here in the summer and you'll find anglers already fishing before the sun has even begun to spread its golden warmth. Float tubes supporting eager fishermen drift quietly over the still waters until a wild shout interrupts the peaceful climate.
Come on, fish. Don't run at me. Oh, big old cutthroat. Probably 22, 23 inches.
But when these big fish are spawning, the lake looks like this. Cold, gray, and almost eerie. Overcast skies, heavy with snow, sink to the earth, forming a smothering white veil over the mountains. Muffled waves lap the shoreline where the ice has broken up. The spring-fed waters of Hatchery Creek draw the big cutthroat and hybrids home to Henry's Lake Fish Hatchery, where their lives began. Near the mouth of the stream, the flat water breaks up as fins puncture the smooth surface. Sometimes it escalates, churning furiously for a brief moment, and then subsides. In a nearby snag, a bald eagle loafs, its feathers ruffling in the wind. The bird lingers, waiting for an opportunity to fish, content to outweight the humans standing over its prey. Visible beneath the surface of the lake is the opening structure of a fish ladder that leads up to the spawning hut straddling the stream. Driven by an ancient instinct, cutthroat leap and struggle to do what their counterparts are doing in other streams all around the lake. The inherent urge to reproduce pushes them into heroic efforts, eventually bringing them to the top of the ladder and inside the shed. The sign refers to Tom Heron, manager of Fish and Game's Henry's Lake Hatchery.
When you get it up here, I'll put the needle in under that fin that we were clipping, the pelvic fin, and inject oxygen in there about 6 parts per million.
For 8 weeks in the early spring, Tom heads up a crew of biologists who, for days on end, do nothing but spawn fish. A sense of humor is necessary to ease the monotony of the repetitive task as the damp cold begins to penetrate gloves and waders.
We'll put 5 fish in here, and then I'll pour off my disease sample, and then we'll put 5 more fish in and fertilize all 10 fish with sperm from 10 males. And then those will go into incubators up in the office for about 28 days.
The eggs are then moved to other state hatcheries and raised to a 4-inch fish. In September, they return to be released back into Henry's Lake. Hatchery-raised fish make up about 25 to 30% of the lake's total population.
We're putting oxygen in at about 6 pounds per square inch, and that expresses the eggs pretty quick. We actually get more eggs per female in a shorter time and better survival on the spawners at that rate. $2,800 eggs, just that quick. It just blows them right out of there.
Every batch of eggs or fish family is tested for disease. Before spawning, a bit of the ovarian fluid is collected in a test tube from each female.
We do pathology, bacteriology, and virology on this over at the Eagle Lab, and that's what gives us an idea what rate our cutthroat are carrying different diseases, and we'll throw these eggs out if they come back positive for anything.
Tom estimates that they spawn over 1,200 cutthroat and 1,000 hybrids. Out of this number, usually only 2 families of eggs are thrown out due to disease.
So we don't lose very many to disease, but we don't want to proliferate disease in the hatcheries or in Henry's Lake. So it gives us an opportunity to stop that process short.
The males have been isolated in a separate holding tank. Big spotted fish move restlessly through the limited space. They're trapped by the physical walls of the raceway and held hostage by their urgent need to spawn. They swim about anxiously in an aimless pattern known only to them. Periodically, a pair of boots appears, and a chosen few are scooped into a large net and dumped into a big basin. The water in the tub has been treated with an anesthetic, and soon the huge males are subdued and lethargic. One by one, they're spawned until 10 males have contributed their sperm. The cup is then passed to the other side. Its contents will be poured over the eggs, and within seconds, they'll be fertilized. After spawning, each fish, male and female, is sent unceremoniously down this tube. They spill back into the lake and float suspended in the water, still listless and disoriented. Eventually they revive, sluggishly swimming off into the cold depths of Henry's Lake. It's an impressive sight. The fish are big and beautiful in their bright spawning colors, but they're even more beautiful in the summer at the end of a fishing line.
Come on, fish. Don't run at me.
It's a fistful of fury when you hook, particularly the hybrids. They really fight. They're more aerobatic, and they'll peel off a lot of line in a very short time. And you've got your hands full. In the morning, you come out to do a creel survey or to check fishermen, and you can hear a lot of hooting and hollering going on. People have fish on, and eventually you'll just hear a big pop where the line just breaks, and you know that was a pretty good sized fish at that rate. They lose a lot of the bigger ones, but some folks have really gotten good at it. They can land some pretty amazing fish when you consider they're using fly gear and some pretty small tippets at that rate.